Welcome to this evening's practice. Tonight's practice is going to be about finding acceptance, but also balancing that with the feeling of wanting to change and move forward and create something new. So in doing that, we're going to be working into finding a little bit more of the splits, Hanumanasana, but also finding some arm balances along the way. So we'll get started off in a child's pose, but it's going to be a little bit different than your typical child's pose. I want you to have your toes tucked under and reach your arms nice and long forward. So the toes tucked under as you draw the hips back. And you can even grab the outer edge here of your sticky mat as you pull the hips back. Just find a little more depth in the hip creases as you allow your forehead to drop down. And just take a few slow and deep breaths, pressing down to the balls and toes of your feet, getting a little bit deeper stretch there, just starting to feel the body. And then just gently untuck the toes so the tops of the feet are down now, and see how far back you can get your sitting bones all the way towards the soles of the feet. Forehead rests down, arms reach long overhead. And as you take a few deep breaths, try to elongate through the front of the spine and let the hip creases soften back and down. Letting the mind be receptive, open, and spacious to whatever arises during this time, during your yoga practice. On your next inhale, press forward onto all fours. Roll your chest open, coming into the cow pose. Press down into the shins. As you exhale, just shift right back into child's pose, drawing the hips back and down. And just connecting, weaving the breath here as we find our first vinyasa. Inhaling, opening up the chest, collarbones splay wide, heart lifts. Exhaling, navel draws into back body, hips reach towards the heels. Just two more like that, building a little bit of rhythm. Exhaling completely and fully. Inhaling, open the chest, round the inner palms. Exhale, toning below, behind, and above the navel in that order. Inhale, come back to all fours. And exhale, tuck your toes, lift up and back, come into a downward facing dog. Stretch the arms long in front of you, feel the palms spread, and lift your sitting bones way up and back. And start to build the shape of your body here by feeling the legs and the hands all equally spreading attention and awareness, and the navel hugging in almost towards the apex of this posture. Take one more inhale here. And as you exhale, step your right foot forward. Back knee lowers down to the floor. And lower your chin towards your chest. So just drop your chin in. You can come onto your fists or fingertips. Letting your chin tuck in towards your sternum, filling into your back body. If it feels okay here, you could just take a little gentle sway from right to left or stay still. And be with whatever's here in the front of that left hip. Last inhale, rooting down through the top of the back foot. And slowly begin to lift your head up, hands onto the front thigh as you lift the torso. And then feel like both frontal hip points are drawing in. Reach the arms back, interlacing the palms, and open up your chest. So as you open the heart, keep the front ribs contained and feel the legs gather in towards one another as you lift up. Arms are pulling apart, chest opens. Inhaling here. Exhale, bring your hands to the floor. Step back into downward facing dog. Feel for a moment in your down dog. Can you just be here with what is, not taking yourself forward to the next movement? Letting your attention fully focus here on each breath. On your next exhale, left foot steps forward. Back knee to the floor. You can again be on your hands, or I like to come to fists here. And draw your chin in towards your chest as you elongate the front of that right thigh. Now, if this is okay here, but you want to add a little more intensity, push down to your left heel, that front heel, and pull back a little bit. And with the top of your right foot, your back foot, press down and pull forward. Notice how that wakes up the legs a little more. One more full cycle here. Chin drawing in, long front of the right thigh. Begin to slowly lift your head, hands to front thigh, torso draws upright. And take the arms back, interlace your palms, roll the chest open. So have the goofy grip this time with the hands. Chest peels open, but the front ribs contain that. And the legs are continuing to scissor together as the heart lifts. Last inhale. Good. Exhale, hands come to the floor. Step back, downward facing dog. From your down dog, continue to spread the palms, lift up through the sitting bones. And then walk your feet forward, come into a forward fold at the front edge of your mat. Let the head and neck release heavy towards the floor, ground down through the soles of the feet, inner and outer edges. So feel those inner and outer edges of the feet lifting up into the legs. Bring your hands to shins, inhale up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, fold deeper into the thighs, firming the kneecaps to lift. Again, inhaling, halfway lift. Soft toes, grounded heels. Exhale, fold deep. Inhale, sweep the arms up, reach to the sky. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bring the hands into heart center, Samastitihi. Inhale, circle the arms to the sky, feeling the length. Exhale as you bow forward to fold, Uttanasana. Inhale, halfway lift, press the top thighs back. Exhale to fold deeply back into yourself. Inhale, we rise, press down to lift up. Exhale, surrender the arms to your sides. And just take 2 breaths here, taking a moment to really pause and feel. Using this moment to ground down into the feeling of what's happening, accepting exactly as the body is today. And also working with it to change, make more space. Inhale, arms reach to the sky. Exhale as you fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, right foot back, knee to the floor. Inhale, arms circle up. Keep the legs gathering together. Maybe palms touch, heart lifts. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back, plank pose. Inhale, plank. Exhale, draw your right foot up above the floor, just about 1 inch or 2. Hug the navel to spine. Inhaling here. Exhale, bring the right foot to the floor, lower all the way down. Tops of the feet root down. Bring the hands in line with your chest. Inhale into your Bhujangasana Cobra pose. Draw the shoulder blades down. Chest slides forward and up as you anchor the pubic bone. Good. Press through all fours, back to downward facing dog. From down dog, inhale, lift the right leg up and back, slow and controlled, almost like you're pushing up against some resistance. Keep the hips square and drive the left heel down into the mat. Lastly, hook the left outer hip back and lift from the right inner thigh, strong arms. Exhale, knee to nose, step all the way through. Ground into your fingertips. You can bring hands to blocks or keep fingertips to the floor. Inhale, reach your heart forward. Exhale, work to straighten your right leg, driving that thigh bone up and back from the sit bone. Inhale, heart reaches forward, bending the knee. Exhale, lifting hips up and back, inner thighs lengthen back. Inhale, low lunge. Exhale, straightening front leg. Inhale to bend into the front knee. Exhale, step forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, up halfway, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, folding deeply, Uttanasana. Inhale, reach to the sky. Exhale, surrender the arms, take a couple breaths.
Notice if the mind likes to wander when we're not anchored to the breath or when we're not focused on the alignment in a posture. Notice the tendency for it to drift off and just guide it back into each pose, into each moment. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, folding forward, Uttanasana. Inhale, up halfway. Exhale, left foot back, knee to the floor. Inhale, arms sweep up. Squeeze the legs together and in. Exhale, hands to the floor, step back, plank pose. Inhale in your plank. Exhale, lift the left foot just an inch or two from the inner thigh. Firming the forearms together, take an inhale. Exhale, lower the foot, lower all the way down. Tops of the feet press into the mat, spread your toes and inhale. Lift up into your cobra. Bhujangasana. Press into the hands, scoop the shoulders back, get a little more lift. And exhale through all fours, downward facing dog. On your inhale, lift the left leg up and back, strong, steady arms, grounding the right heel. Peel the right outer thigh back and lift the inseam of the left leg. Inhale here. Exhale, left foot forward. Ground into fingertips or hands flat. Inhale, heart reaches forward. Exhale, lifting the hips up and back, starting to move towards this Parsvottanasana shape. Two more like that. Inhaling, heart forward. Outer hips gather in, back thigh lifts. Exhaling, straightening that left leg. Once more, inhale. Left knee bends, sternum lengthens forward. Exhaling, hips lengthen back, low belly to spine. Inhale, left knee bends. Exhale, step forward, standing forward fold. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift. Exhaling, fold deeply. Bend your knees, sit your hips back low and deep, chair pose, Utkatasana. Exhale, rise to stand, ground the feet, and find stillness. Just for a breath. Let it come unrestricted, uncontrolled, in and out, back to a natural breathing rhythm. You're going to bring your feet about hip width distance apart and bend the knees, come back into your chair pose. From here, round deeply until you come down into a squat, come into Malasana. So if you need to, you can roll your yoga mat up a little bit and place it underneath your heels. I'm just going to demo that for you to see how much easier it makes the posture. So you're down here in the squat, still gathering the legs in, still scooping up from the low belly, finding length in the spine. And play around here. So maybe try moving a little bit forward into the ball mounds of your feet. Move towards the heels. Shift over to the right, find your end range. Over to the left, but you're still working to hug in. And now option for those of you that want to move into your arm balance of Bakkasana, in the crane pose. You're going to keep your knees deep in towards your outer upper arms and get as compact as you can. And then bringing the soles or the big toe mounds together to squeeze in as well. So getting everything into a tight, compact unit, lifting through the low belly as you shift forward. And then squeeze the knees in to help you find straight arms and hips drawing high. Take one more breath here, gaze is slightly forward, and then either shoot the legs back through a vinyasa or make your way back to downward facing dog. Inhale to the upward facing, exhale, meet in downward facing dog. Take 2 slow breaths here in your dog pose, again grounding the feet as you spread the hands. Inhale, right leg lifts up and back. Exhale, knee to nose, right foot forward. Spin the outer back heel down. Rise up into first warrior. As you exhale, take the arms back, interlace palms together. As you inhale, scoop the chest up, reach the arms back. Exhale, fold to the inside of that right leg.
Let your head drop, shoulder blades draw away from the ears, and your right hip hooks back as the left hip wraps forward and down. One last breath. Softening the grip of the toes. Release your hands to the floor. Spin the back heel high. Take a breath here and feel the work of the legs pushing into the floor so much that you might not need your hands. Then, take your right arm, sneak it back behind your right leg, and maybe just fingertips out to the sides, framing as the chest moves forward. Maybe you lift the arms. Take one more breath wherever you are. Bring your hands back to the floor, step back into plank pose. From plank, lower all the way down. Take your arms back, palms facing the floor. Roll your shoulders onto your back body and lift the heart up and forward as you come into Shalabhasana. Keep lifting the chest, broadening the collarbones. Exhale, hands to the floor. Make your way back, downward facing dog. Take 2 breaths in your down dog with really wide and soft gaze to the eyes. Just taking in the color, shadow, light. Inhale, take your left leg up and back, slow and steady. Exhale, knee to nose, step forward. Virabhadrasana 1, back heel spins down, arms reach out. Anchoring the tailbone towards the floor. Take the arms back, opposite interlace the palms. Inhale, scoop the chest up. Exhale, folding forward to the inside of that left thigh. And then work to keep the left outer hip wrapping back as that right hip wraps forward, dropping your head and neck completely. As you ground into the feet again, try not to grip with the toes. I know it's tempting here. Release the hands down, spin the back heel high, and feel the feet push down and pull together. Draw that left arm behind the left calf. Spread the arms wide, or you can stay with fingertips for support. Breathing here for 3. Again, soft gaze for 2. And 1. Hands return to the mat. Step back, plank pose. Inhaling plank. Exhale, lower all the way down. Inhale up into Shalabhasana, locust pose. Exhale, hands to the floor. Downward facing dog. In your down dog, spread the palms. Let your head drop heavy between the hands. Good. Now bring your right foot forward between the palms and spin your feet wide. So you come into a wide-legged forward fold, Prasarita Padottanasana. As you root down into your hands, just slowly begin to bend the right knee and push the left foot away from you. So 2 things are happening at once. My right groin is drawing back as my left inseam of the leg is activating and stretching. And very slowly pressing back through the center, moving like I'm moving through mud or water. And bending the left knee, left groin lengthens back, right inseam of the leg pressing away, right kneecap lifted. And then you'll just toggle from side to side with some fluidity and consistency. So just building a little bit more space into the hips. And last time each side. Keeping the toes soft, inner and outer edges of the feet working. Excellent. And then as you come back to the center, you're going to spin around towards that front edge of your mat and take your right foot into a half pigeon pose. So right outer shin pushing down firmly, hands come to the floor, top of the left foot roots down. As you're here, press the right outer shin into the floor and the top of the left foot and pull those 2 points together
as you draw up through the low belly. You're welcome to be here on fists or on blocks. Keeping the shoulders down the back, chest lifting up. And can you just accept how your hips feel in this moment? Noticing the sensation without judging, without reacting, just feeling the nuanced texture in the hip, both in the right outer hip and the front of the left hip. Good. And then from here, you're going to slowly lower down to your forearms. And taking 2 more breaths, just thinking a little bit deeper now. If you want to lower all the way to the floor, you can. Maybe a block to support your head might feel nice. And carefully begin to lift yourself back up. And press back to downward facing dog. In down dog, feel the sitting bones cast up and back as you ground through the inner palm, lifting sit bones up and back. And take your left shin forward into pigeon pose, into a half pigeon pose. Press into that left outer shin. Press into the top of your right foot and then pull those two together. Drawing the shoulder blades down. And then see if you're centered right in the middle of your hips. So if you're leaning a little to the right or to the left, see if you can center back right in the middle. Loop the tailbone down, take a couple more breaths, maybe letting the hips soften a little bit as you squeeze the outer right shin into the mat and the right foot forward. From here, you're going to lower down to the forearms, a couple more breaths. We really want to open the hips here before we move into some of these different arm balances that require open hips. And giving yourself the permission to just explore what it's like to not have judgment or not have expectation. Just accepting exactly as your hips feel today, not labeling it as tight or sore, but just feeling the sensation exactly as it appears. Maybe pressure, tingling, heat or cold. Whatever anchors you to the presence that something is unfolding. And planting your hands down right underneath your shoulders, press back into a downward facing dog. In this down dog, lower your knees to the floor and take your legs out in front of you. So we're going to do a little bit here to engage and activate the core to help prepare us for back bending. So take your hands slightly between your knees and your hips, right at the midway point. As you inhale, lift your chest up, push down into the floor. As you exhale, start to round forward and push into the floor as you lift your sitting bones. For 3, 2, 1, lower sitting bones back to the floor. And just take a breath or two, feel that work of having to scoop in and up to get a lift. We're going to do that one more time. Inhaling, grow tall through your spine, grounding your sitting bones. Exhale, round the shoulders slightly forward, push down and lift the little belly up and back. For 3, 2, 1, sitting bones back down. All right, you're going to take your left shin and bring it in like you're cradling it here. So we call this cradling the baby. You can bring your hands either clasped together like this or one hand holding the opposite wrist. And with that left shin, just kind of work it a little bit closer in towards your chest, but you're trying to get a little bit more upright in your seat. And the right leg is extended forward. So with this left shin, push into the arms a little bit. Use that to engage and activate this left outer hip. Good. Now, you're going to bring your hands to the sole of this left foot. Inhale, draw the knee back. Exhale, extend to straighten. Twice more now. Inhale, bend. Draw that knee back in. Exhale, straighten it out. So this left leg coming back, it's almost like when you take Happy Baby's pose. Drawing it back and extending it forward. This time, you'll bring your right hand across the top of your left foot and take your left thumb and index webbing to the base of your left ankle, right up towards the Achilles. Lift up, draw back, and you'll do that a couple of times, so make it a little bit dynamic. So you lift up, draw it back. It's like throwing on a backpack. You do that one more time, lift up, draw back, and then take your hands down to that same place that we just were, but clamp that left knee down into that left upper arm. As long as you're above your shoulder, or above your elbow here, you can do this next pose. As you plant your hands right down in that same position between the knee and the hips, keep your legs really active, and just lift your hips off the ground as you lean forward. Now, if you feel like you can balance, maybe lift that right leg. Keep squeezing in with that left shoulder. This is Ekapada Bhujasana. And then slowly lower down. And just take that left leg, let it go. Extend it out in front of you. Then bend your knees, bring your feet to the floor. Take the arms back. We're going to set up for reverse tabletop. As you inhale, shoulders roll open, opening the front body. Exhale, press into the feet, activating the back body to lift up for 3. Inner thighs down, tailbone forward for 2. Last inhale. And exhale, lower with control. All right, take your left leg forward this time, and you'll bring your right leg in for this cradling the baby. The baby's the right shin here. And you're making sure the ankle is active and flexed, so you're not feeling this in your knee. This is mostly to loosen up this right outer hip and all the little tiny muscles that grip hard to help us to stand and walk and even sit. Good. From here, you're going to bring your hands to the sole of your right foot. As you inhale, draw back like you're pulling on a bowstring. Then exhale, begin to straighten that right leg. Do that twice more. Inhaling and exhale towards straight. Inhale, bend that right knee back. Keep pushing that left foot forward. Exhale to straighten. Right hand will sneak underneath that right ankle. Left hand grabs the top of the right foot. And as you lift up, draw back. Once again, lift up, pull back. With that right tricep, pull back against the right hamstring. Once more, lift up, draw back, and bring your hands down right into that same position that we practiced lifting off before. Now at first, just lift the sitting bones off the ground. Rounding forward, squeezing the arms together, and then maybe try lifting the left heel. Squeezing that right knee down, pushing the earth away. And release. Take that right leg forward. And then bring the soles of the feet together into Baddha Konasana. So we'll take the bound angle pose. As you press the feet back together, just notice what it's like to go from where we were working really hard, pressing into the earth, all that activity and tension, to now softening a little bit, moving into some ease as you fold into Baddha Konasana. So notice those 2 different modes of being. And can we approach each of them with the proper amount of attention, with the the proper sense of engagement, where we're not overwhelmed, but we're also not bored. And inhale to come back upright. So we're going to take a little bit here to add on to what we just did. So we're going to take that same setup, drawing the left leg in, giving it a little bit of movement. And now, once we set up for this arm balance here, we're going to add on by lifting up, optional to take the right ankle on top of the left thigh, or on top of the right ankle on top of the left ankle, and then squeeze the legs together out to the side in the 8 crooked pose, Ashtavakrasana. Chest reaches forward, elbow squeeze in, and you can try coming back to that same position. And then release. So give that a try. And then once you're done with the first side, you'll try it on the second side. Again, practicing acceptance here, right? Even if that means just today, getting here, lifting your sitting bone off the ground, can you bring your full attention into doing so? Can you really engage in a way that is going to bring about some learning and some wisdom? So, second side, if you're working on your first side, you're going to, again, clamp down, lift the hips up, and you can sneak the left ankle on top of the right ankle as the legs squeeze out to the side, chest reaches forward. Try not to let the chest dip down here. Keep squeezing in, elbows right over wrists. And come back and lower. And if you just need a moment, you can take child's pose. In the next 3 to 5 breaths, make your way back into downward facing dog. No rush. Good. From your downward facing dog, keep lengthening up through the upper inner thighs here as you let the head drop. Then step your right foot forward and seal the back foot in and down so you come into Parsvottanasana. Bring your hands to blocks. And if you don't need blocks, you can just push your hands to the floor, but I prefer to use blocks here. Spread the sole of your right foot and draw your right hip up and back as the left outer hip wraps forward and down. And feel here for a few breaths as you ground all 4 corners of that right foot without gripping your toes. Feel the sitting bones lengthen up and back. And feel yourself growing long through both sides of the waist. Extend your breath and practice acceptance of your body exactly as it is today. Noting whatever it is, whatever the energy is of the mind, that's the practice. Bring your left hand either to the inside of your right foot, to the floor block. Bring your right thumb into your right hip crease. Pull that right hip straight back. Spin the left low belly towards the right inner thigh and turn the rest of the spine. Breathing here for 5. Ground into the feet, lengthen the heart. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring your hands back to the floor. And you're going to take your left knee to the ground, right to the outside of your right ankle. So we're going to set up for Ardha Matsyendrasana. So we already got a bit of a twist here. And we're going to take that left arm to the outside of your right thigh. I'm going to turn towards me so you can see here. And then you can either hook the elbow around the knee and turn, or to the outside and turn. Ground into both sitting bones as you lift up, using your exhalations to wrap around the spine. And again, however mobile or rigid your spine feels today, And you just notice that as part of the experience, that it's variable. It changes day by day. From here, you're going to push into this left shin, bring your hands forward. You're going to keep that left arm hooked around the outside of that right thigh if you have it. And we're actually going to come into an arm balance from here. You can either place both hips down to start on the arms or lift up. And then option to extend the legs, chest reaching forward. Coming into Ekapada Kundanyasana. When you're ready, come on out and make your way back into a downward facing dog. Take 3 deep cycles of breath in your dog pose. Really feel everything balance out energetically. So you're not over efforting, you're not tightening muscles in the face, just letting the breath circulate. Arms and legs, steady the body. And then bring your left foot forward. Step the back foot up about 1/3 of the way. Hands can come to blocks. As you press into the blocks, ground your feet, spin the inner thighs up and back. And you can play around with your stance here. You can make it longer or wider, but feel like both feet are equally imprinting into the ground. Take 2 more steady cycles of breath. Bring your right hand now in line with your left foot. Some people can do this with that hand to the outside of the foot. I like it right underneath the shoulder. From here, begin to turn and twist from the back, low belly, keeping the outer edge of that back foot rooted down as you spin the chest. Last 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hands down to the floor. Walk the left foot in a little bit and bring your right knee to the outside of your left ankle. It's a guest appearance from Miss Hannah. Taking your left ankle to the outside of your right thigh. And you're going to either hook that right inner elbow against the outer thigh and turn, or take the right arm to the outside of the left thigh. Either way, keep pressing down into that inner big toe mound of the front left foot. Breathing here. Feel the expansive inhale help to lift the spine, and the exhale helps to rotate. Good. Inhale, gaze forward. Now again, you're going to bring your hands forward to shift onto this right shin. Right arm is, both arms are hooked to the outside of the left thigh. And as you shift forward, you can either keep both hips down, but ideally lifting up and stretching both legs long, heart reaching forward. And you can play around with that. You can try it with a little bit wider arms. But eventually, again, we'll transition back to a downward facing dog. And right away, can you just let go of the effort of the previous posture? And just let the mind be steady, open, and spacious. On your exhale, lower your knees down to the floor, and then grab a hold of a block, and we'll place it underneath the sitting bones if you need to for Virasana. If you don't need a block underneath your seat in Hero's Pose, you don't need it. Make some space in the front of the shins by lengthening the knees forward, pressing down to the tops of the feet. Just get settled here for a couple of breaths, and you might even take your hands to just work into the arches of your feet with your knuckles. Especially if you've been in shoes all day, it might feel really nice to work into your soles of your feet. And again, just feeling into that without any added judgment or layer of emotional salience. Just noticing that maybe my feet feel really nice when I work on them. It can be as simple as that. And then settling back to an even foundation of both sitting bones, take your right foot forward for Triang Mukha Pada Paschimottanasana. Press the right heel down, draw the right thigh back. Inhale to lengthen your spine, and exhale as you fold forward, hinging at the hip crease. So it's really easy here to just let the spine kind of round forward, but that's not what we're doing. It's not wrong. We're just working to find a little bit more length through the front of the spine. So soften the shoulders down the back, lengthen the pubic bone back, and keep this left outer ankle and shin hugging in. Pressing the right heel forward at the same time you're scooping the right thigh bone back in space. Good. Option to fold a little bit deeper now, allowing that little bit of rounding forward. But again, notice if you're always fighting for more space, or is there some times where you can just pull back right away from the edge and notice. Just accept and be grateful of where that is, the new space that you found. It doesn't always need to push beyond. And slowly come back up. Take your right foot back into hero's pose. Take your left foot forward and extend it so the left leg is straight, right shin is in hero's pose. Inhale to lengthen up. Exhale as you fold. And the reason, I think one of many reasons that the yoga practice calls our attention in such a deep and intrinsic way is because we're constantly watching the body change in this process. But it really is easy to get caught up in, oh, this needs to happen, or I need to feel this certain way, or I want to make this pose happen. And we can miss out on so much vital information and really experience that cultivates mindfulness, cultivates a sense of presence, that really brings the mental benefits of the practice online. That ability to look at something non-judgmentally and just notice its unique characteristics. It can be really helpful. Slowly come all the way up. Take your left leg back so you're in hero's pose once again. Sit tall, round the tops of the feet. Feel the low belly draw in and back. And then release the hands back to the floor. Downward facing dog. From your down dog, spread the soles of the feet. And in your down dog, pull the feet apart, like you're trying to pull your yoga mat apart. Notice if that gives you a little more lift of the hip rims away from the wrist creases. In your next exhale, step your right foot around your right hand. Lower the back knee to the floor. You're going to keep your left hand down, take your right arm back, and bend this left knee so you really feel you're actively doing this. Bend the left knee to reach and find the outer edge of your back foot. Kick back into that hand, dragging your left knee forward against your yoga mat and pulling a little bit with your right heel as you turn the chest. So actively drawing the right heel back towards you as you're pulling the left knee forward. This is going to help open the hips. Some of you might even want to come down to a forearm or stay upright. Sometimes you feel a little more leverage here upright. Last inhale. Exhale, release the back foot, hands down, downward facing dog. Option to take a vinyasa if you'd like. On your next exhale, left foot forward, around the left hand, back knee down. Right hand maintains as a foundation. As the left arm reaches back, bend that back knee first so you really feel it's an active movement. Then reach and find the outer edge of the back foot. Pull the right knee forward against your yoga mat. Drag the left heel back towards you and turn the chest. Again, you have the option to go lower, but maybe that's a little bit too far, so just stay with where you are and accept the body as it is in this moment. There might be plenty of sensation for you to notice and recognize. It doesn't always need to be the maximum amount. Last inhale. Exhale, release. Back foot down. Back into down dog or vinyasa. And take your right foot forward into a low lunge. Back into the floor. And I really like to have blocks for this next version. So we're going to set up for half of Hanumanasana and slowly work our way forward into full Hanumanasana. So you can start as high up as you need on your blocks. Maybe this is exactly where you stay today, and maybe you find all the subtlety and depth here that you need for your practice. Those of you that feel there's a little bit more space to explore, just start to scoop that right heel a little bit more forward. Walk the left knee a bit further back. And as those 2 points start to stretch further apart, take a moment in between each time you extend further to dig the right heel down and the top of the left foot and the left knee into the mat and pull those 2 points together. So it's like you're scissoring the legs together through the floor, and that will give you a little bit of extra space if you soften into it right after. So do that a few times, seeing what kind of space you can work with. Hips facing forward, right heel digs down, thigh bone firms and pulls back as the left thigh pulls forward, engaging the front of this left hip. And again, you can relax into that a little bit further. So just do that until maybe you can take just a block underneath your sitting bone. This is a really nice setup if you can get a block. Keep turning your hips to face forward. And keep that work of the legs pulling together. So my right thigh is pulling back, left hip wrapping forward, and then I'm reaching just a little bit further. You're just kind of inching out as you work to pull everything in. Lastly, maybe take the arms up for full Hanumanasana. Legs are rooting down, low belly draws in. Good. Hands come to the floor with as much control and ease as you can. You'll make your way back into a downward facing dog. There's no rush to get anywhere. Come into your down dog and feel the space of your right back body, right leg. And then take your left foot forward into a low lunge with the back knee down. Again, bring your hands onto your blocks. And you can start by keeping the hips right over this back knee. This is a good starting point. And just feel here, okay, this is how my left hamstring feels today. And approaching it with that same non-judgmental attitude. Whatever it is, it is. And at the same time, we're doing this practice for the effect of spending time in the posture for it to open up more. We don't necessarily need to keep pushing for more. If there is more space, you can let the left heel move a little bit further forward. Maybe walk the right knee back and feel which of those two is more natural for you. Right knee back or left heel forward. Keep pressing down into the left heel, dragging the right knee. Giving yourself a bit of time in each iteration of the pose. And with each breath comes a new version of the posture. The breath is a way of examining attention in the body. So try to breathe along the left hamstring, creating a bit more space. Again, pulling the left heel down into your yoga mat, pulling it back towards you might help you to come more upright. And keep turning the hips to face forward as the tailbone lengthens down. Maybe you have the space to take the left sitting bone to a block. Keep scooping up through the low belly. Maybe take the arms up. Last 3. Steady, hugging inward and upward for 2. And 1. Return the hands to the floor with control and not too much effort. Make your way back into downward facing dog. From your down dog, lower down to the knees. Cross your legs and take your feet to the floor out in front of you. So we've just done a lot on stretching the legs open. Now we're going to get back to opening through the front of the body. So we'll do that with a reverse tabletop once again. So hands pushing down, ground into the feet. Inhale, shoulders roll onto your back body. Exhale, press into your feet and begin to lift your hips up, rolling the chest open for 3, 2, and 1. Slowly release down. And then lower all the way to the floor. Nice and easy. Here we're going to set up for bridge pose. Bring your arms down by your sides and ground into both feet. So your fingers should be able to graze your heels. Press into the feet, begin to lift the hips up, come into your bridge. Now you can either stay here or lift the heels up so you get a little more activation in the front of the thighs. Tailbone loops forward, chest rolls open. Take 2 more steady breaths. And slowly release 1 vertebrae at a time back to the floor. Rest with 1 hand to your heart, 1 hand to your belly. Feel the pulsing of your heart rate. And feel the breath move in and out of your belly. So last back bend here, your choice. You can take bridge pose again. You can maybe move into Urdhva Dhanurasana, or you can take some other version, maybe a supported back bend with some blocks underneath your sacrum. Whatever feels right for you for your final back bend. If you're moving into wheel pose, take the hands to frame the sides of your head, turning the thumbs to face back. Press into the feet, lift the hips, and come onto the top of your head. Spin the palms around and wrap the outer arms in, and then come up high onto the ball mounds of your feet and then press to lift up. Keep pressing into both feet, lengthening the tail forward, opening up the shoulders. And slowly come back down with control. Again, resting 1 hand to your heart, 1 hand to your belly. Just be with the shifting of energy. Be with all the changes in your attention. Making the consistent attempt to anchor back into the present moment. You're going to take your right knee on top of your left knee. Finish off with a nice twist. Move the hips a little bit to the right and take your knees over to the left. Your right arm can stay out to the right as you turn the chest. Just let the head and neck and jaw all release any tension that's still remaining. Even the deep low belly begins to soften. Unwind the legs. Slowly press back to center. Make sure the pelvis is back to neutral. The left knee goes on top of the right. Hips move a little bit to the left. as your knees draw to the right. That right hand can assist the left knee, reaching the left arm away from you. And then unwind the legs, slowly come back to center. And make your way into your final rest in Shavasana, close toes. Acceptance is the act of truly meeting reality as it is. Without adding additional layers of meaning or context. Noticing what is available to us in consciousness in this very moment. And let your mind be wide open like the sky. Notice how sensations in the body arise and disappear, just as the breath does. Notice how thoughts, just like sensations, or another pattern of energy in the mind that come and go. Just letting your mind return back to this open, spacious, and choiceless awareness. As you gaze into the sky of the mind. Letting everything appear in its own place. Here that I would like to share with you. It's called The Guest House. This, being human, is a guest house. Every morning, a new arrival. A joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they're a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still, treat each guest honorably. It may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whoever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond. This is from Rumi. So meeting reality exactly as it is, bringing our whole self to engage consciously with our world, whatever that might be any given day. You start to slowly move your hands and your feet, taking a deeper breath as you slowly and carefully find movement in the body. And eventually drawing a knee in towards your chest at a time. As you slowly roll to your side, taking a moment of pause, again, just maybe even acknowledging the gratitude of making it to your practice today. And carefully begin to push yourself up into a comfortable seat. And bring your hands together at your heart center. As we take a moment to salute and honor the essence of yoga within ourselves, we bow forward to the divine light that resides within each of us. Namaste. And if you would like more classes like this, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you here next time.